Forgive me, dear friend. I was having some microphone problems, but I am ready to go and glad to be with you. And I say a hearty hello and a hi-yo silver and a welcome, dear friend. Welcome to what has become the favorite part of my day, being able to speak to you and review what's going on, because it is like nothing I have ever seen. Your comments, by the way, are just incredible. They are an inspiration, ladies and gentlemen, an absolute inspiration. And what you have done, what you have shown, what you have indicated to me is something that is just beyond anything I've ever seen. And what I think we're able to decide, for the most part, as we go through this, and by the way, Candace was superb today. Superb with her detective work. I don't know how she does this. I don't know how many the teams that she must employ. I don't know, but it is phenomenal what she's able to employ. In any event, she's able to show you that because there are so many connections between Erica and others, for there not to be something more criminal, more serious, more problematic, for that to be the case, it would be impossible. It would be virtually impossible for there to be no connection whatsoever. And a couple of things to really pay attention, especially when it comes to the notion of trafficking and the like, is you look at two things: orphanages and modeling. Modeling has been, for the longest time, this feeder system for trafficking since day one. Absolutely, positively, 100%. It's perfect to get young, impressionable models from not third world countries, but Eastern European countries in particular, who are doing this because of their family. Many of them had a commitment, had a desire to help their families. So you get them where they're the most vulnerable. That's how these people work. To figure out, what is it that I can do? How do I tap into your own problems, your own sensitivities? How do I do this? And what happens, in addition to everything else, is the fact that they will find out specifically what it is that you're looking for. And Eastern European, by the by, I've heard another thing that you might be hearing about, and I'm not suggesting that Erica is, or ever could be a part of this, but in Ukrainian, dare I say, adoptions and surrogacy farms. Surrogacy. A while back, as you probably know, when it came to the notion of adoption, there was a time when premier emphasis was placed on Russian babies, Russian children, Russian. That was the way to go. Russian. Hello, Raul. Welcome, my friend. Russia was the way to go. That dimmed later on because of some problems with some other problems, fetal alcohol syndrome in some cases, or there was something about some other event. So that they lost favor, and then it went to China. And here in New York, when people were out talking about the children that they had adopted, they were almost like talking about, like, what's the favorite car? What's the latest model? What's the latest, is it a Range Rover? Is it this? Is it that? They spoke about it very, very oddly in terms of what was in and out. Any event, you found out the money that is involved. And when China in particular, oh my God. So remember one thing: organized crime, which is what a lot of this is. Organized crime only cares about money and power. Yes, there may be some sexual connections to it. Yes, there may be parts of it that deal with predation. But believe it or not, first and foremost is money and control. Now, does anyone think at this point, from what you've heard, if I put together I guess you would call it for lack of a better word, a kind of a circumstantial case. If I were to put together a circumstantial case regarding this Erica, wouldn't you think that it would be virtually impossible for her to be in these many situations, knowing these many people, whether it's Romania and others, and not be confused, not be connected with something that is nefarious? Do you think it is possible that she happened to be at the wrong place in the wrong time? Do you think it's even remotely possible that this Franz would be able to be in so many places at so many times and not know anything? That's number one. Number two, do you think it's possible for her maybe not to have dealt with Epstein directly? Not everybody dealt with Epstein directly, or Les Wexner or others, but indeed connected with the system and the networks that they all shared. Do you think that's possible? Romanian? Candace today was just superb. And here's my question. Is there anything that Erica has ever said that's true? Is there any story, any line, any narrative, anything at all that is remotely, and I mean this, that is remotely true, legitimate, everything? I happened to see tonight, there's a young lady who has a very good, we love Barron and so many other great people, but she's very good. Her name is Nisscee, Nisscee. And I was watching, also very, very thorough, very, very methodical in terms of going through, in this particular case, the psychology, if you will, of her. She is an absolute, an organic liar, a liar that we have never seen before. There is nothing. And here's the thing, which is, had it not been, you see, when sometimes people live their lives like a candle in the wind, when they go from one lie to the next, they're of the opinion, and they want you to think that I can do no harm. And the reason why they don't get caught is because nobody's after them, because they're not of renown. Nobody knows who they are. Nobody knows their name. Nobody knows anything about them. And they think for some reason, I don't know how, but they think that they're able to, I guess, they think that they're able to somehow, and this is really important, just get away with murder because they're blessed. Well, the reason why they got away with this is because nobody cared. This is going on right now. There are people far more insidious, far more, dare I say, criminal, and nobody's suggesting that Erica is criminal per se. I'm not suggesting that. I don't think Candace is either. I don't think anybody is. But there are people who are really, absolutely, positively, who possess a sort of a level of complexity, if you will, to their situation that is unbelievable. Let me see if I can explain this to you. They lie because they can. They lie because mendacity is their middle name. They lie in ways, and you might have seen this before, where we would have a hard time. I think we mentioned before, or maybe we didn't, the people who are involved in stolen valor. It's the same thing. They can say things to you that you probably would never think in a million years. I can't imagine me telling somebody that I was a Medal of Honor recipient, when number one, you could just look it up online, or that it's so bizarre it would embarrass me. Now, we all maybe, we might embellish something. We might embellish something within the category. For example, I might say to you, well, yes, I'm a lawyer, and I was quite the maverick when I was a young man. I say, well, that might not be true, but I'm a lawyer. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to tell you I'm a neurosurgeon. I'm not going to tell you something which is so beyond the pale. And by dint of courage, and balderdash, am I going to pursue this? But there are other people who don't mind it, especially when they get away with it. And They also find themselves receiving a lot of attention in a positive way. Erica Kirk is somebody who is devoid of attention. She has absolutely, positively low self-esteem. And when you tell people this, they think you're kidding. Renee, our good friend, says, watch Erica Kirk at school the other day. She was such a hot mess that I actually felt pity. You know, it's funny you said that. It's funny you say that. I know it's not considered nice to say this, but there is a part of me that looks at her, that looks at Eric as being so pathetic and so devoid of anything. How do I say this? So devoid of anything. She has no sense of self. I think this is a woman who all her life wanted to be something, but she couldn't figure out what she wanted to be. What is it? Do you want to be attractive? Do you want to be pretty? What is it that you want to be? What is the thing that you want to be? And she would say anything. And like I said, it's one thing to say, well, I was I was in a pageant and it was very nice. And you can lowball that all you want. You can say whatever you want. That's fine. But basically, her story was not enough to say I was in a pageant. She said she was recruited. I still am making a big deal on that because it was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. She actually is saying that. She said she was recruited. She was so beautiful and so enchanting that she was recruited by the great people of Arizona because they needed her. You don't understand. They needed her. She was that much of a hot ticket item. See, that's the part where I'm thinking, why are you doing this? You won this event. You won this. Isn't that good enough for you? No, not to her. That's not good enough. So you see what's going on. So anyway, so going back to what this is, it's all coming undone right now. And here is the best part. People might be saying, why is it that Erica is going after her? Why is it that Erica is going after her? Is she really that important? And the answer is yes. 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 I think for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't know about you, but there's something about people who just lie that I find problematic. There are people who just lie. And when somebody lies, I take great umbrage at that. And it becomes my duty to uncover it because there's something about lying, especially when somebody lies to you and they don't have to lie. They weren't forced to do this. They did it on their own. Number two, there's the message and the story of Charlie. That is beyond anything I've ever seen. This is so critical. There are other things too. What about these children? What are they going to say? Do you know what it is like for a child to know that their father later on was gunned down? And when they get a little older, how are they going to be able to handle this? Do you think for a moment that Erica is going to be able to handle that, the delicate balance of how she's going to explain that? Do you think so? Do you think that's even remotely possible? I don't. Not at all. How much you want to bet she lies regarding that? She lies regarding the story, not in order to placate or to ameliorate or mollify or act as an unguent or some type of a palliative or something to make her kids able to take it, to act as a salve. No. Her life is one lie after another, embellished. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Where's Charlie's parents? Where's Charlie? You almost want to see maybe I hope that children have some kind of normalcy. I don't think Erica's mother is able to do anything. The father, whichever father is involved, I don't think he's going to be able to do it. It would seem like Charlie's parents are good people. They would be the most able to do this. So anyway, going back to what I was saying, Candace was superb today. Next, I'm a little disheartened. Not disheartened. I don't know what to do. I'm not a Trump apologist, lest you think I am. But I don't understand why who was it who said, yeah, pick Erika Kirk for this. Now, by the way, this Air Force visitors thing it's not what you think it is. It's not the biggest. Look, I know there have been many, many cases where he has elected or selected citizens to hold a variety of positions regarding a variety of events. I don't want to go into detail, but it's not life and death. It's titular, it's honorary. I understand it. But here is the part that I don't understand. You would think that maybe somebody in his office or his circle would say, Mr. President, I know this is a very, I don't want to say it's a meaningless find. It certainly is not. But I want you to understand, sir, that there are some problems regarding Erica that I want you to be aware of. And this may come back to bite us later on. Why would she do that? Why would you get her near Trump? Who saw? Did you happen to see the scene where when Erica, I don't know if it was Trump, it was Charlie's funeral, whatever it was. Did you see the way she was hugging him and putting his head on his shoulder like he's the daddy? And he was like looking at her like, what is going on here? Did you see that one? That told me everything. Did you see that? The little girl. The little girl putting her head on daddy's shoulder, crying like a little bit. Trump is not one who is, I think, effusive. He's not somebody who is overly dramatic. He's not overly sensitive. He doesn't cry. He recognizes it, but that's not his thing. For her to basically thrust herself, kind of like put her head, on him, like it makes you think, like, why are you doing this? Why in the name of God are you? Again, everything right now, it's like I just put on glasses and that's all I see. It's all I see is her. Every fraud, everything that she does, everything, I see it because of these glasses that I wear now. I can focus on this. And it shows me just how deceptive these folks were. Also, remember, there is no more TPUSA. I don't care what anybody says. She's doing everything in her power. Here's the point. Not to promote TPUSA, but to promote herself. She still can't do it. She can't do it. If you told her, I want you to go out and I want you to give a speech. And I want you to talk about Charlie, but almost, well, of course, in the third person, but speak of Charlie and how he affected people's lives and how critical he was and how important he was in everyone's world. And you see what I'm saying? I want that to be the case. I want you to say that. Don't talk about yourself. Don't go on and say what you've been through, and you talk about TPUSA, talk about scholarships, talk about Charlie's legacy, talk about the Bible, talk about God. Don't throw out some, cut and paste biblical thing. I want you really to do that. She couldn't do this. She could not do this. Do you hear what I'm saying? Remember, it's going to hit the fan. These storylines, somewhere, somehow, somebody, I believe, I have no reason to believe this, no reason to say this other than this, but somewhere, I would not be surprised if there is a former federal prosecutor, a current federal prosecutor, maybe an investigator somewhere who is taking great notes, who might be, dare I say, assisting Candace, because the level of depth of these findings, the level of the documents and everything, it is beyond anything I've ever seen. So I'm wondering if perhaps, not that somebody on the inside is giving her this information, but just somebody who's a great investigator. Because somewhere along the line, do not be surprised if somebody doesn't come along and say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to be looking at the charity statutes. We're going to be looking at a variety of things. Also, misrepresentation. Misrepresentation is a very interesting thing. Let me explain to you for a moment. When it comes to fraud, there's fraud in the inducement and fraud in the factum. Two basic distinctions. Fraud in the inducement is when I tell you something that I tell you something to get you to sign on to something. Fraud in the factum is when I tell you something that's just fraudulent to begin with. There's no truth at all in it. Erica and her mother and her family and the grifters must have done something, either to raise money, induce money, solicit money, encourage money, somewhere along the line where her duplicity and her duplicity and her, what am I trying to say? Her misrepresentation could very well, if it's paired correctly, could be the basis of some kind of fraud. Something somewhere. Also, have you noticed how the TPUSA people are just gone? They're kind of like, they have the Charlie Kirk show, which is disgusting. Have you also noticed, too, there are so many, and I don't mean to say this in a bad way. I'm trying not to be mean. But have you noticed how weird these TPUSA guys are? You know, there used to be this thing called, how do I say this? Soy boys. And it was the idea of somebody who was some effeminate, wimpy male who was associated somehow with eating a lot of soy or something. I don't know what the story is. But have you noticed that one? Have you noticed it? These are what I think will be similar to that. It's this real wimpy, washed out, nondescript, white, kind of, I don't want to say country club, but just not knock around, not authentic, not guys you want to, punch them in the shoulder and, tell a dirty joke. Absolutely not. The most, and maybe I'm just being cruel. I mean, it's always a chance. But people who are acting very, very effeminate. Have you noticed that? There's something wrong with these people. Absolutely wrong with these people. And I can't believe how other individuals like Fox News, why do you think Fox News bought onto this stuff? Why? Do they know? I don't think people care. I'll bet you with all this going on, and we'll talk about the war in a moment, but I think that what we're seeing here is something that is beyond the pale. It's beyond anything we've seen. And if anybody, put it this way, I ask folks, because I don't know about you, but I've gotten some friends who say, well, are you talking about this again? I said, absolutely. Absolutely. Have you ever read Agatha Christie? Have you ever read Sherlock Holmes? Have you ever read, Arthur Conan Doyle or whatever? Or sci-fi? It's fiction. People have gotten degrees in it. People are fascinated. And it's fiction. They love a storyline. And it's fiction. I think we mentioned last night. There were shows in the old days, Falcon Crest and Knots Landing and Dallas and Dynasty and all these shows. People loved it. They were addicted to it. Soap operas. I loved soap operas. My father loved Young and the Restless. I remember during law school, we would follow them. I like CBS. And he would follow a story. And I always told people it should be great training for lawyers because if you can follow the storyline. I remember one time when I was when I was just out of college, I worked for a U.S. senator, and when Roger Stenbeck and John Dixon were involved in something, I think it was as the world turns, I think we closed the office. So anyway, so what I'm saying is, I've been fans of that just from a literary point of view. All right, okay. If it's okay to be involved in this from a literary point of view, do you know what it's like to be involved in something that's based in reality? See, this is a living, breathing mystery. This is a living, breathing sitcom. This is a living, breathing. Erika Kirk is, and the more you hear it, you realize she's as dumb as rocks. And we didn't know this before because she really didn't say that much. She wasn't involved in a lot of stuff, but she is as dumb as rocks. I'm sorry to be cruel, but it's true. She doesn't understand what's going on here. That's why she was maybe the perfect foil. And then we're going to find out later on. Let me ask you something. Let me tell you this. When all is said and done, and Erica just unloads and presents it in a story. By the way, this story, which was promoted, promulgated, and provoked by what they did to Candace, the way they abused her. She said, okay, you want me to get to, all right, I'll get to the bottom of this. I'll get to the bottom of this. They didn't need this. They felt so cocksure, so above it all. They didn't need it. Erica felt like saying, in essence, I don't care whether this makes sense. I don't even know what I said. What did I say? Oh, okay, maybe I said that. Did you say that Charlie is good that he died? Maybe I did. I don't know. Do you really miss Charlie? Let me ask you $1 million question. What do you think she would say if I said, Erica, hypothetical, if I could bring Charlie back right now, would you? Let me ask you. I'm asking a question. But if he came back, if somehow he came back, it was a mistake or whatever it was, you're not going to be anywhere near where you are right now. You can't do Zoom calls. You can't say hi guys. You can't do this. You're going to be just another wife. You're going to go back to your corner and stand there and wait for somebody to throw you a bone. Would you want to do that? Would you want to go back to that life? And I'm sorry to say, not that she would say, no, I wouldn't want my children's father to be brought back. She'd probably say yes for that reason. But for her to give this up? Do you have ambition? Most of us have it. It's to accomplish something. It's to be something through accomplishment. To achieve something by virtue of education or a business deal. Something that we earn. Something that we earn. It's tangible. Our goal is not to be liked, though I'm sure that is, not to be respected. No, I'm sure that's a part of it. Not to be loved or in awe or to be thought of as handsome or pretty. That's not what most people want. They want something tangible. They want something real. As does Raul, who says, Erica would say no. Thank you, Erica. I don't know. I don't know. I can't. I would hope she would say, yes, of course I want my husband back. It's the father of my children. But what she wants more than anything else does not involve accomplishments. It's reaction. She wants you to love her, to admire her, to find her sexy and hot and beautiful and dynamic. She doesn't care whether you believe her. She's not interested in that. She's not saying, I want to lead. I want to be the inspiration for young people. No. You call me, who was it? Candace called me her grandpa. I think that's an honor. You think she wants to be called grandpa or grandma? No. Most of us would want to be respected. Where people say, this is great. I love what he or she says, what they do, whatever their position is. I've learned a lot. They're a teacher. They're both, whatever. That's what most people will want. She would say, I don't give a damn about that. I want you to think of me as sexy and talented. When I walk out on a stage, this is what she would be saying. I want you to look at me the way I've looked at others. I want you, and it's not so much as lusting in my heart. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Let me explain something to you. It was very common in the old days of rock and roll with the Stones and others to be ambisexual, as I call it. Not bisexual, ambisexual, like ambidextrous. They didn't know what it was. Men, women, it doesn't matter. John F. Kennedy's best friend, I think his name is Lem Billings when he was growing up. He was a gay man, still was a gay man. And his father, Joe Kennedy, said, I don't care as long as he gets him satisfied and he doesn't knock up some girl, become pregnant. I don't care about that. This is his son. Or his father. He didn't care about them being men, No. Sex to them meant nothing. Jackie Kennedy stopped anything that moved. She'd stop a snake if you hold the head. Venetian blinds, anything. Her sister, even worse. She double-crossed Lee Radziwill, double-crossed her with Ari Onassis. There was a story, I'm going to show you, give you the book title. There was a story that reports that allegedly says that Jackie and her sister Lee were very much in love with their father. Their father was taken away. Remember, when a father has interrupted duty as a father, the person who really is affected the most isn't the male, but the woman, the female. I'm not saying men aren't affected. No. But I'm saying women, absolutely. And the reason why it establishes the idea of this paternalism, daddy's little girl, is the first connection that the women are aware of, psychologically, Freudian, whatever, between what a man represents. The first time. Because when you're a kid, you go through, okay, these are people. And then they say, okay, that's mommy and that's daddy. Okay, that's a boy and a girl. That's sister, but that's a father, mommy and daddy. What do they do? It's the first time kids are into this differentiation of roles. For a little girl, the father is the first man ever who showed her attention, who won her daddy's little girl, who said, I love you, and basically told her mother, look at this. Look who loves me too. I know it sounds Freudian, but there's a lot to it that's true. Don't kid yourself. Don't kid yourself. Boys, weird. Mother doesn't apply that much. Fathers are more for support. Boys, by virtue of the fact of our seeming resiliency, I think, but I think it's because of our simian makeup. I don't think it matters as much. It does. I mean, boys want to have, a father to guide them and show them and respect them. But girls, it's the way they respond to men. It's the first, kind of like their first boyfriend without being a boyfriend. It's the first time a man shows her attention. And it sets the standard, sets the goal. If that is removed, if that is for some reason interrupted, they go the rest of their life trying to find it again. In fact, it was so bad, and I'll leave it at this very carefully, there was some intimation, some into it, that they were really vying for their father's attention, if you know what I mean. This is how deep it goes. Remember something, my friends. There are many, many houses in psychology. It's a classical conditioning, there's the conditioning with the whatever, Pavlovian, so to speak. Then there's operant conditioning. There's also operant, which is Skinner. But the Freudian makes a lot of sense. Parts of it makes a lot of sense. Big time. So this is how bad it was. So you got those people. You got everybody. Bobby Kennedy, remember, they all looked to their father, Joe Kennedy, who was the swordsman. You know what I mean? He used to bring Gloria Swanson to their breakfast table. The woman, Rose Kennedy, taught them the wife shuts her mouth. She takes the money, she just shuts up. This is not her place. Of course, this is a different time. This is not her place. Ethel knew it big time. Ethel knew it. So what I'm saying is these weird. Okay, so to show you how screwed up that was, Joe Kennedy said, I don't care if my son John has a gay boyfriend. If the boyfriend services him, I don't care. His biggest fear was having a woman become pregnant. It was a big deal then. Ruining the legacy, the pedigree of the Kennedy name. That was a long way to get there. As far as Erica would say, again, I've never met her. I would not be surprised if she said to you candidly, I don't care about this. Affection is affection is affection. Sexuality is not male, female. As long as it loops back to me. It's got to pay homage to me. It's got to make sense to me. It's about me. I don't care who it is. It doesn't matter. I'm not looking for intimacy. I'm looking at people. Hang on a minute. Excuse me. I'm looking at people who are paying honor and tribute to me. You see what I'm saying? She's in love with herself. Her love is herself, not anybody else. Charlie and the TPUSA is just a way to get there. She cares as much about religion and the Bible as I care, cricket, the game. That's how she does it. it was kind of respectable. She's, and don't think for a moment that all of a sudden this person went from nothing to revered. And not only that, it came with kind of a hands off. So she came with like a warranty. She came up with her own Kevlar, her own vest. People who came to her and said all of a sudden, like, we're going to really, you better be really nice to her because she's respected, she's attractive, she's an author, and she's now revered. She's got everything. Sexy, stature, everything. And she is right now, remember that scene from Pulp Fiction when John Travolta does the spike or whatever it was, and he just sits back and the wave of heroin comes over him? That's where she goes. She's going through this wave of, it's seductive. She can't believe it. She cannot believe what's going on. I'll bet you anything. How much do you want to bet? Let me, I've done enough talking. How many of you believe deep down inside she couldn't care less about Candace as long as the attention keeps going? If Candace says something that gets in the way, that's a different story. But other than the fact that Candace refuting her story, she doesn't care. Doesn't care because it's made up anyway. How would she get upset about something that was made up? You see what I'm saying? Now somebody said, we don't know any of this stuff. Somebody said people repent and change. They absolutely do. We are absolutely, you are 100%. We don't know anything. We're standing, like somebody said one time, we're standing outside a stadium and we're listening to the roar of the crowd and we're trying to guess the score. But I will bet anything she is a person like you can. And by the way, let me explain something. She's not going to repent from anything. She'll tell you, I didn't do anything. What am I repenting from? What have I done? Other than the usual crimes of, being a Christian. But that's more of a Catholic thing. I'm not even sure what her faith is. She'll tell you, I haven't done anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with this. I haven't lied. This happened. I did this. Did you say you didn't drink and you didn't date? Well, that's what you say, but I didn't do that. I didn't. You did do that. Well, I didn't mean it. It's no big deal. Nobody cares. She doesn't care about that. You understand what I'm telling you? She doesn't care. It doesn't mean anything. It means something to you, but you can have all these exposés. But as long as the money keeps coming in and the applause and the love, and especially young people, young girls who look to her as the princess, not admiration, but out of this, whatever. Very scary. I want to bring up something on your attention while we're on this because it's important that I share this with you. How many of you are very scared or worried about what's going on in the world right now? How many? Because you got family, you've got maybe people, friends or young children or friends or relatives in the military. How many of you are worried we are on the brink of World War III? This is the scariest stuff. I don't know what to think. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what to believe. I'm really scared, right? Has anybody done anything to explain this to you? Has anybody? Oh, look at the Jude has a brand new grandbaby girl. Let me just tell you something, and take it from me. There is nothing like a grandchild to make you say, oh, I get it now. Nothing. It's just, even more than children. Oddly enough, it's a very strange thing. I think grandparents will vouch for this. First and foremost, here's some good news, okay? Let me give you some good news because I want to make you feel better. And I'm never going to tell you something just to make you feel better, but I want you to understand something. We have been at war our entire existence. And especially since World War, for way before obviously, but World War I was really the big one. But since World War II was the last of the noble efforts, that was truly a war. Everything after that was nothing. It's a skirmish. It's a battle. It's kind of a war. That's number one. Okay. We have been through this forever. We're still standing. Forever. Since the beginning. And let's just, who cares about prior to, but from World War II on, starting with Korea, it's been one unnecessary war, and you can imagine. Number two, in order for you to say, we don't want to go to war, doesn't mean you like the people, you trust the people, that they wouldn't hurt you if they could, or that they would. We're not saying that. We're not saying that there's nothing to worry about. The official story goes, and you must understand the official story of what everybody in the world is saying, that Iran was actually negotiating. There was a pause. During the pause, when they were negotiating, lo and behold, what happened? We went to war. They said, we were negotiating. Oh, well. I like President Trump. I don't think he's getting the full picture. I don't think so. I think he's being told a lot of things. I think he's being told a lot of stuff. I just want you not to worry about it. It will resolve itself. It's not going to be World War III or anything like that. Remember, we're not the only one. The Gulf states, NATO, the world is for us 100%. Europe, we're not the only one there. So don't think we're the only one there. A lot of people are behind it. But I don't want you to worry about it. It could go bad. It's not a good place to be. Don't worry about this. This is not World War III. Ain't going to happen. And there's a lot of people, my friends, I want to tell you this, and I kind of find it despicable. They go on shows, and in order to get the numbers, to get the metrics, they go on and they say World War III, this is the end of civilization, this is the big one, and they scare people. They scare people. They scare kids and older people. And that's inexcusable. Inexcusable. I'm not suggesting it's no big deal. What I'm suggesting is that this is not the end of the world. I promise you. This I absolutely promise you. 100%. But let me leave you with this. And then we'll just, because I'm sensing it. A lot of people, I don't like talks about war the conventional way. They said, well, there may be boots on the ground. Boots on the ground has got to be one of the most stupid things I've ever heard. You're going to send American troops to send it to Tehran? And they're going to walk around in downtown? This is a city. This is a big city. Are you kidding me? What do you want our men to do? We don't know. Well, we heard the old days. Remember, Colin Powell says it was the Pottery Barn rule. If you break it, you own it. So I don't know exactly what they're breaking and what they're talking about. I don't even know what the whole purpose of this is. But here's what I do worry about. When I say worry, let me rephrase this. What I think is feasible. I do not believe there is a nuclear attack or any type of. There might be. One of these days, you're going to see maybe a small detonation. It is going to freak people out because we have been nuke free since 45, right? We've not heard this. But what scares me is, first of all, the Strait of Hormuz in terms of oil. And I'm not talking about merely just having to pay more at the pump. Oil moves the world. But also I'm worried about some other things too. Using AI as a weapons targeting system. But also the following. I want you to think for a moment. Listen to me. Listen to me. I want you to imagine what the world would look like if in your city Wi-Fi was gone. It's gone. No Wi-Fi anywhere. You might be able to go, well, I'll just use digital. Nothing. No music, no platforms, no Twitter, no nothing. What would happen to the people who lived here? What would happen to them? What would happen to young people if there was no Wi-Fi? None. And by the way, with no Wi-Fi doesn't mean that there's no fun and games. It can mean a lot of things, up to and including commerce and a variety of other things. I want you to think about it. No Wi-Fi. It wouldn't be, gee, that would suck. You understand this? It wouldn't be that. It would be chaos. There are people young, you've seen them on planes, who go berserk if you take their phone momentarily. If somebody played with our grid, it scares me. Not so much bombs. I don't think Cleveland is going to get hit. But that's something nobody's even thought about. Nobody's even talked about it. And the idea of using AI as a means of targeting, it's the most frightening thing in the world. So I don't think it's going to be, by the way, back to cable TV. No, there's no TV. No. This infrastructure, this grid is not just Wi-Fi. It's going to be the support systems. It's not, you're not going to be able to watch TV. Well, I mean, you might be able to watch TV, maybe sort of, on your phone, but carriers will be under so much demand, so much pressure. How do you make up for that? Wi-Fi provides the juice, the everything. You see what I'm saying? It's that important, that critical. And I don't mean to belabor. I mean, this is going to businesses, banks, ATMs, everything depends on the internet, as it were. Do you know what would happen? Now, could they do it? Yeah, absolutely. Some Carrington class or mini Carrington class, EMP, without a doubt. So the good news is this is not going to be the end of the world. I promise you. What's going to happen is Trump one day is going to say, that's it. What do you mean that's it? That's it. We're victorious. You're not victorious. Let him say he's victorious. Okay, you're victorious. Thank you. That's all I'm going to say. That's all he cares about. He'll move on. It'll be done. What the other countries do, I have no idea. He will realize, especially when he hears that midterms are going to be affected by this. Okay? Now, that notwithstanding, I just wanted to address that because there's a lot of tension here. And you should be tension. And there's a lot of potential that could go very, very, very wrong. But here's the big question, too, going back to our initial story. You know they're going to come after Candace, right? You know this. And she is going to turn up the heat. And she is going to make more very serious claims against Israelis, Jews, whatever you want to call it. She is going to pulverize this issue. I promise you. Are you ready to handle that? What are you going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Does anybody believe that this Christian woman is an anti-Semite, meaning that she hates Jewish people? Anybody believe that? Maybe I missed the point. I'm thinking, I don't believe that for a moment. Because this is a retaliation because she's going very strongly against Israel. Does anybody believe that for a moment? Does anybody think so? You've got to be kidding if you honestly got to think, seriously, that that's the way it is. But they're going to try their very best to extrapolate this. And they're going to do everything in their power. When I tell you this, they're going to do everything in their power. You understand this? Here's an interesting one. Bradley says Palantir is in trouble. Trump only has a couple years left. Trump is either keeping them under his thumb and holding them back, but when Trump leaves, Palantir might be a different machine. Great work. That's an excellent, excellent point. That's Peter Thiel. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck trying to explain that one. But what we need to do right now is very simply this. I want you to stand for this proclamation. Candace Owens stands for the proclamation that evil and criminal must be exposed. It's that simple. There is none that is too minimal, but it must bear at least a level of audacity or crime or something that makes people interesting. But that's the thing which is the most important. These people must be agreed. These people must be exposed and must be brought to justice. And I can't say this enough. And it might bother people, but that's what we believe in. We don't really care who you are. We've been told this for a long time. And we've been told by a lot of people that somehow, and this really bothers me, if you say to yourself, I do not believe that any country should have this much of a sway over us. I don't believe that any country should be able to do as much as these people. You see what I'm saying? I don't believe that. You got it? I don't believe that any country should control our destiny. I believe in America first. I believe that MAGA stands for that. Whatever you think, you must understand we have to stand for something. And we've got to tell somebody in this particular case, don't look at us. We're not backing down. Wait until you see the pressure that comes. Also, the people who are going to lose the most money are really going to come down hard on you. And they're going to make you, Candace is going to be made, they're going to take everything she's ever said, and they're going to make her sound like some hate-filled, horrible, horrible purpose. Thank you, Cindy Lou. Appreciate it, as the kids say. They're going to make her sound like she is the worst thing anybody's ever seen. They're going to do everything in their power to do it. That she's some anti-Semitic, she's some Nazi, and she's horrible. They're going to bring up everything she said. They're already lining it up now. They're going to do it. And we have to stand by her side and say, listen, we didn't come, I don't know about you, but I wasn't interested in what she had to say or why I was there because of Israel or the Middle East. That may be your thing. That's not what I found interesting. I found the Erika Kirk situation fascinating. I found her indefatigable, relentless approach for the truth. That's what I found. And that's what I think you found too. So this is something that we have to understand. We have to really put it into perspective. Why are we here? What are we after? That's the bottom line. We're after truth. And we want people to understand, don't mess with us. Plus, you happen to whack somebody we cared for very, very much. So that's where that's going to be, my friends. And I'm telling you right now, it is critical that people grasp this notion. I can't say it enough, but it's critical that people understand it. That's why we're here. I don't think any of us, we never talk about religion one way or the other. And it is possible for you as an American citizen to complain about or to criticize what another foreign country is doing if it's not ours. That's what's important. That's what's critical. So we'll see what happens. So my friends, I'm telling you right now, I have done more video today than you can imagine, more TV, if you can call it TV. I thank you for being a part of this. Please make sure you like this video. I need the likes a lot. Make sure you also do everything in your power to make sure that you remain connected, that you subscribe to the channel, and more importantly, a couple of things, that you hit that little bell to be notified of live streams and new videos. And that's it. Support Candace 100% wholeheartedly, because she is going to need us. And she brought all of us together. Isn't that interesting? She brought us together. The truth brought us together. So that's that. To all our great folks who super chatted, thank you so much. For all of you who signed up for My Beloved Wife on Lynn's Warriors, thank you so much on YouTube. And thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to enter your world and your realm and your head to impart my own particular analysis or analyses. And it means a lot. It's I don't want to say it's a great topic, but it's a great topic because you're a great audience. And that's the truth. All right, dear friends, don't forget tonight, WABC 1 to 5 overnights. I'll be talking to you then. And until we meet again, my friends, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. That.